Good morning everybody. Welcome to KANISHKA IAS. Banking sector is very important for economic development and growth for any country. There are some financial parameters, financial indicators which represents the banking health like non-performing assets, capital adequacy ratio and bank's profitability. In this context, we will see one of the parameter, the progress of one of the parameter non-performing assets. One of the financial parameter gross non-performing asset registered tremendous growth since 2018 to 2024. At the 2018, it was 14%. Now it is 3%. There is a huge decline. Means out of 100 rupees, in 2018, banks are only able to lend only 87 rupees. The remaining 40 rupees are non-performing assets. They are not getting any income. Coming to the 2024, now the banks are able to lend up to 97 rupees. It is a huge success of the government and RBI initiations. In this context, we need to understand some of the concepts or terminologies regarding to the non-performing assets. Banks have the assets and liabilities. Loans and advance are comes under the assets. Banks are giving loans to individuals or corporate sector. As a result, they are getting the interest rate. They are getting the interest. Sometimes either corporate or individual are not able to pay the interest. How it turns to the NPA? Let's see. Every EMI has a due date, means we need to pay our bill at the particular date. For example, 2024 December 30 is the due date for the one company repayment. They are not able to pay on the particular date. The next day, 2025 1st January, we treat it as a overdue. If it continues up to 90 days, we can treat it the particular asset as stressed assets. If it is more than 90 days, means from 1st January to 1st April, from 1st April onwards, we can treat it as a non-performing assets. Means banks are not receiving any interest or principal amount more than 90 days from the borrower. We can treat it as a particular asset as a non-performing assets. There is further classification of the non-performing assets like substandard assets, doubtful assets, loss assets. Up to from 90 days to 1 year, up to 1 year, we can treat it as a substantial assets. Means 2025 April 1st to 2026 April 1st, we can treat NPAs as substantial assets. More than 1 year, we can treat doubtful assets or loss assets. Coming to the doubtful assets, means that there might be a chance of recovery of the asset. Through the audit analyzing, the banking identifies there is a less chances. We are unable to recover the assets. Then they are treated as the loss assets. What are the reasons behind on the not paying? What are the reasons behind on the assets becomes into the NPAs? There are some reasons behind on the assets becomes into the NPAs. Economic slowdown, policy issues, we will discuss it soon. Poor lending practice, means the banking management is not considering the history of the borrower. It will impact on the repayment. Willful defaulters, sometimes some corporate sector or individuals they are able to pay, they are affordable to pay, but they are not willing to pay. It is also leads to the NPA. Fraud and mismanagement, sometimes the banking management and corporate sector was nexus. One of the best example is ICICI Bank and Video Constable. They are providing the loans as they eligible. It leads to the NPA and create burden on the banks. And coming to the how economic slowdown and policy issues are impact on the NPAs. Corporate sector taking loan from the banks due to economic slowdown on project delays, means global pandemics like corona or any war kind of the situations. Coming to the policy issues, they are not getting the environment clearance in time. All these factors are halting the project. It creates the hurdles to the corporate sector. They are not able to pay the loans. In course of journey, they are not able to pay. It convert as the NPAs. It impact on the bank's capital base. Once the capital base was reduced because of the NPAs, there is impact on the lending capability of the banks. Banks are not enough amount to give loans to the other people. It impact on the investment and ultimately impact on the GDP growth. There is one terminology is there, twin balance sheet, means simultaneously the corporate sector and the banking sector facing the struggles, we can treat it as a twin balance sheet. At the same time, the banking sector and the corporate sector facing the issues, we can treat it as a twin balance sheet problem. Government and RBI taking a lot of measures to curtail the NPA. We have seen the result of all the measures. 4R strategy: recognition, resolution, recapitalization and reforms. Recognition means early monitoring. Resolution means to take the proper steps. Asset quality review. It is the one of the monitoring mechanism by the RBI. RBI monitoring the loans, identify the bad loans. It enforces the mechanism to recover the loans. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. It is a time-bound mechanism to take actions on the stressed assets. National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited Bad Bank. Banks are suffering with NPAs. Government want to reduce burden on banks by the NPAs. Through the National Asset Reconstruction Company, they are taking the NPAs and reduce the burden on the banks. Recapitalization means due to the NPA, banks are not able to perform fully. Government need to infuse the amount and to strengthen the banking system as per the Basel norms also. It will give strength to the banks to perform their functionality. Another important one, prompt corrective action framework. RBI trying to monitor on the big banks through the prompt corrective action framework to reduce the NPA possibility. PZ&I committee. Apart from all the things, to improve governance is also one of the important factor. To identify what kind of the steps required in the governance prospect, government appointed the PZ&I committee. Due to all these factors, we have seen the consequence of from 2018 to 2019 how the gross non-performing assets was reduced from 14% to 3%, and how these are helpful to the banking stability, the investor confidence on the banking sector and banking lending capability. That's it. Thank you very much.